All right, welcome to I think it's episode 17 of the War Room. It is Metal Mayhem week, and we're joined by Tyson Mobley of Under the Table Graphics and Robbie Crittenden of The Simple Solution. All three of us will be there this weekend. I know Robbie's going to be vending,
Yep.
so he'll have a lot of parts for you guys, especially you 4-6 guys, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone. We'll hang out at Robbie's booth, I'm sure, throughout the weekend. If you guys want to stop by and catch us, I'm sure it's going to be some great action. Robbie, you got any of that new stuff available?
I welded a lot of stuff up today. I don't know how much I'll be bringing because I'm going to start posting it on my website. I might bring one just so people can look at it, but I'm going to start getting stuff on my website. I'm trying to build up enough product to where I'm not, chasing my tail trying to get stuff shipped out to people when they order it. So I might bring one of each to share and let people look at.
Okay, so make sure you stop by the tables where Robbie's set up to.
I might bring one.
We've got a number of new products coming out, so make sure you stop by and check that out. Also, I think if you guys haven't seen, Big A Spindles has some new spindles out, and they are the Old Iron GM spindles. I know Robbie's carrying them on his website. I'm sure they'll be out at Metal Mayhem too. Big supporter of ours. So if you need some spindles, you're in the spindle game, make sure you check them out. Those are the Old Iron GM, and I know the original version is going to be out there too. So I know Ford spindles are getting hard to come by, and they're not going to get any cheaper. So prices are just going to keep going up. So spindle game will probably go to that eventually, anyways. With that said, let's tackle a couple things on the King. Robbie, you killed it in your rear-wheel drive class. If you missed this last week, that thing is full and quite the waiting list at this point.
Excited for it. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we are. I mean, that is awesome. Then our front-wheel drive, which Dan was on with us last week, our front-wheel drive class is down to, I think, almost 10 entries is what we got left in the front-wheel drive, and our King class is sprinkling in. King class guys, look, I'm confident this thing's filling. I've talked to enough people have interest, enough entries are in that I am pretty confident this thing's going to fill. So that is going to be some big money on the line at 50 grand. And, I was talking to some people today in like the monster truck industry. We got one of our guys in the monster truck industry and another guy's in the dirt tracks, and a lot of those places don't pay 50 grand. So I think, 50 grand, man, is a lot of money. We get 60 cars, 60 entries. We're paying 50 grand to win. That's an insane amount of money. So we'd like to see, 60 guys willing to put it all on the line. And I'm confident we're going to get there. And there's some big names that have signed up already and are coming. We'll post some states that are coming to us this year that have never ran the King. So we'll post that as we go. As a matter of fact, today we posted the state of Illinois and just representing Metal Mayhem. Who's the first names that come to mind when you guys think Illinois?
Isn't Santel and them guys out there?
Yeah, well, Santel's at the top of the list. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Got to be one of them, right?
Everybody knows him.
John Rutherford won there one time.
Rutherford won out there.
Yep.
In Metal Mayhem. And we're going to get into that list. I did some homework, not enough homework. What I realized is when I started to get into this thing, I realized I didn't do enough homework. So I started finding bits and pieces of like top 10s or top 20s or features or whatever across the years. And I'm missing some years. I'd really like to put some more information together, but I'm going to pull that up on the screen, guys. And let's talk about Metal Mayhem. Ooh, let me make that a little bigger. There we go. So, Metal Mayhem. All right. Now, Robbie, I know you said you've been there a couple times when it was
Yep.
in Portland, Indiana.
Yep.
I've ran there. I know Tyson's been there when it was in Portland, Indiana. It's usually in Illinois, and when it went back to Illinois, so it's changed hands a couple times. Currently, Taylor Feldkamp owns Derby Icons, and he bought it from Jack Fissler Jr., who bought it from Tori Schutte, who inherited it from or took over for PMP Promotions, and that was Charlie Perrine back in 2008. So short little history. Charlie owned it till 2008, started it in 2002. Tori took over along with Dave Guard and Scott Grope, and then sold it to Jack eventually. And now it is in ownership and back out in Illinois, in the hands of Taylor Feldkamp. I'm gonna tell you this: I went there 2 years ago. Maybe it was Taylor's first event, and it was a good event. Crowd wise, it was a good turnout. And then this year at Spring X, I went back. It's the same facility, and holy moly, Robbie, you were there. It was
Yep.
a
Good
Friday afternoon, and there was a shit ton of people there
packed house. Yep.
on Friday afternoon. I rolled in at like noon. And when did you get there?
I was there on Thursday morning.
So you got to see everybody roll in?
Yeah, and there was a lot of people already there. As far as Derby cars were already being inspected, there was a heck of a line, wrapped all the way around, and there was already people showing up to camp because they had the camping out back, and there's a lot of people already there on Thursday or showing up.
Yeah, I could not believe when I thought I was showing up early, and I about didn't have a parking spot.
Yeah.
And that was at like noon on Friday. So Taylor's really got some support out there, and really brought Mayhem back, to being one of the biggest events in the country.
I met Taylor at the Smith's Metalworks event with you, and I think you might have actually introduced us.
Yeah.
And very, very good guy. Yep, we've had some good laughs together since then. So.
Oh yeah, he's a good time.
Yep.
He's a good time for sure. So a little history. Let's get into this. This is going to be the 22nd year of Metal Mayhem. I believe that this is the longest tenured individual independent event in the entire country. I'm pretty sure of that. If I'm wrong, let me know. Make sure you comment. But 22 years. So in 2002, this started. And Scott Zizelman, took the win. It's kind of an iconic win. I know he had a tucked wagon back then. So Ziz was a little bit ahead of the game, as he was for a long, long time. He took home the win in 2002. And I think that was on. Robbie, did you ever watch this on TV? Do you remember?
Yeah, what was it called? TNT Night of Destruction or something like that on TV.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but I think that you can look this up on YouTube to this day, that year.
Yep.
Yeah, so this was some TV days, very, very popular, really cool. Going down this list, so I made a couple notes, which is some pretty interesting points. So Bob Whitaker is number one, okay, in the all-time Metal Mayhem list with 4. Last year he got his 4th, which broke a tie with Don Santel, and I know Santel won it in some Lincolns in 11 and 12. I believe he won it back-to-back years. But 4 iconic wins at one Derby. Bob Whitaker's at the top of the list. You got Don Santel with 3. Then you got Randy Schwarzkopf with 2. Vic Whaley coming in 2. Vic and Don were the only two people to win it back-to-back years. And when I said I needed to do some more homework, guys, I started to get in this, and I realized that like Bob got second some years. I realized that Vic Whaley got second some years. So I'd really like to like put together, hey, yeah, they have 4 wins, but they got 10 top fives or something like that. I know I talked to Chad Markley, and Markley told me that he has 10 top fives at Metal Mayhem. 10 in 21 years. So, I mean,
It's a
if you're a
lot.
betting man, yeah, I mean, you're a betting man, Chad Markley is going to be not only in the money, but in the top 5, 50% of the time. That's pretty impressive. And I keep going down the list here. John Rutherford, Chris Shane Leben. These are some hot Ohio guys. Adam Fouché, Daryl Monroe, Don Long, another Ohio guy. Jonathan Furr, Dave Meyer, and Trent Braun. I think Mayhem was only at Portland for 2 years, right? In
Yeah.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Meyer took home the win there, and then Trent came in and took home the win. Some other fun facts here for Metal Mayhem. In the 21 years, Illinois has taken home the title 11 times, with Ohio coming in second, Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, and Michigan represented it as one. Thought that was pretty interesting. A derby that's for the most part out in Illinois, or definitely not in Ohio. Some Ohio guys have went out there and taken home some prize money.
Wasn't it Portland? Wasn't it Portland where we watched Brett Petro with that, where we talked about the last one where he had that front end folded straight up? Where was that at? I thought that was there.
It was. So that's another thing that I realized is I know that like Justin Buchanan won a class out there that paid 10 grand.
And that had to have been a Metal Mayhem Derby because that was right there about this time.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's when they had like multiple classes.
Gotcha.
So I don't
It
think
might not have been the actual Mayhem class.
yeah, the Mayhem class. So I think what
Right.
I got here is the Mayhem class.
Gotcha.
That's what I realized.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. Because Buchanan won one too. And I was like, well, man, I got him on that 10,000 to win list.
Mm-hmm.
And he I know it was at Mayhem. But yeah, they must have multiple classes. So I don't know how you do that. I got these results specifically from Taylor on the trophy. So he sent me what was on the actual Metal Mayhem trophy. For those of you that don't know, they used to, I don't know if they still do, but they used to like pass off a trophy from year to year, which was pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Oh, there you go. So Taylor's actually on here, and he said they put Spring X and Metal Mayhem together as one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on there. See, that's when you don't do all your homework and you just do a little bit, you don't know what you're talking about. My bad. Yeah, 80s and newer that Justin won. Yeah, that was the 2 years they had it in Portland, and then it went back out. I think at one point, and I'm sure some people in the chat can help us out. I think at one point they banned wagons. So I was doing like a wagon countdown here. And from my count, just remembering back through and looking up the results that I could. Obviously, I don't have all of them, but I believe a wagon won this event at least 14 times. So 14 of the 21 years. And this was a wagon heavy event. And I think there was years, at least one or two, where wagons were banned. I think it was they turned into a sedan only. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we got some people chiming in. Here's Taylor's. And then Clifton won the Mayhem class. Well, apparently, I guess he didn't win the Mayhem class, but he won a $10,000 show
Yep.
because it had to be, well, about had to be the year that Trent won it in 2021.
Yeah, it was 21. We took 2 street stock cars there.
Yeah, because I ran it in 20, and I remember watching his win on TV, so I wasn't there in 21. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought that was a pretty interesting deal. I think when you think Metal Mayhem, I mean, I just think of like history, historic, iconic, derby icons. You know, I think of when Tori was doing the icon interviews. Did you guys ever watch any of those on YouTube?
Yeah, I watched some of them. Yeah.
I think he was getting different people to do interviews. It was
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I hate to use this term. Maybe it was a little ahead of its time, but I hate when people use ahead of its time because I really liked when they were doing that stuff. I just know it's not convenient to travel around to people's shops and interview them, but it was really cool to see. I don't know if Derby Nation had anything to do with that back then, but I know, I like when he was doing that. Riggs, he did that for Riggs. Did some rivalries.
It's pretty neat that you did this list because I had no idea that it was 21 years worth of Metal Mayhem. This is year 22, correct?
Yeah, this is year 22. I'm going to do a lot more of these because it's so hard to keep track of this, and nobody does this. Like, I don't think people should forget who won these shows. Um, I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week, and I asked them, who won this big derby 3 years ago, and they had no idea. And if these are going to be staples of the Derby world, I mean, we gotta make sure people remember who won this. Give these guys credit. I mean, I think Fouché won two $10,000 shows, but Shane Levin, I mean, Shane Levin is Shane Levin from Mercer County, Tyson? Or is he
I
from,
think so. I think they're from the Rockford area, ain't they?
so that's Mercer County still, right?
I think so, yeah. I think
Okay.
that's where they're from. I'm not 100%.
So for example, Chris Shane Levin, I know he's good friends with Toby, and that hung out in that crowd growing up from Salina or that area, right, Mercer County. And he goes out there and steals a victory, a Metal Mayhem victory, which is like unbelievable. The first big win I know that he had, but everyone from our area knows that name. Like, that name is very well respected. But it's really cool to see him on a list like this. And a lot of people, I bet, look at this list and probably have no idea where a couple of these people are even from. I mean, you got Don Long. Do you remember the Turn Back the Clock?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Don Long started that, then he sold it, and then he went out to Mayhem and won the show. I mean, that's just impressive. That's impressive, as I think. Anybody else surprise you on this list?
I think I don't know if any of them surprised me. I mean, I think it's the ultimate opportunity to, as we've been preaching, and others are starting to echo, the promoters and everything can only give you the stage, and these just so happen to be the guys that took the opportunity and come out victorious. So,
Yeah, these guys certainly made the most of the stage.
Agree. This just shows that, anybody can win. Put the time in the garage, bring the car, put your head in the game, and win it.
yeah.
And that's something that everyone doesn't really think about, and it doesn't register, I think, in a lot of people's heads. But Bob Whitaker's won this event 4 times.
That's crazy.
I am pretty sure he's competed at this event every year except for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
I know he didn't go to Portland for sure, but when it's out in Illinois, I believe he was there like every year. So he's, he wins 20% of the Mayhems, and that is absolute best. Because I think a lot of people just get caught up in the, I can't win or whatever. Well, a lot of these guys don't win every year.
I mean, if you look at the stretches between the wins that he had, that he ran between there, so there was learning curves and and issues that cost him not to win. But there's 10 years there between a few of those.
Yeah, I would like to get in Bob's head and say, hey, man, you won in 09, and that was your second victory, but you didn't win again until 18.
18, right.
Yeah. That's like you don't want to call that a drought because they have a drought. I mean,
but he's wanting to throw the flag in there because, that's a long time, of trying. He tried. Like you said earlier, it'd be cool to see, did he get second? Did he get third?
He
did
for
he get
sure
fifth?
did. So
you know what I mean?
I know in 17 he got second, and I know it because I got this list right here. So in 17 he got second to Vic Whaley Jr. And then, obviously 18 he won it, and then that's just a couple other lists. But so I know he got some seconds in there, but I would like to get his thoughts on what he was thinking.
Yeah. So go 9 years. And then get a second place, right? And then still have enough motivation to build again and then come back and win it, So
absolutely.
That's cool.
I'd like to know what happened in 09 with Randy Schwarzkopf because he won in 08 and 10. So where did he get at in 9? Those are the results that I want to know. Did he get like a top 5? Did he almost win 3 in a row?
Right.
Vic Whaley, I know he has a second place out there. So he's got 2 wins and at least the second. I know those guys have ran that show forever. I know Don's been notoriously in the top 5. In 11 and 12, I'm almost well, let's get to 10. So there's a comment on here, 10. And this is pretty cool because it's kind of close to home, and I picked Toby's brain on this a lot. So in 2010, Metal Mayhem used to notoriously be old iron, and that's it. We talked about the wagons and whatnot. In 2010, Toby, Toast, and Mark Elliott all brought Fords out there. And Toby told me a story. I wish Toby would come on here and tell the story because it's funny hearing it from Toby. But he told me the story that I think Guard called him and said, "Hey man, are the rumors true?" And he said, "Well, what rumors are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, that you're bringing a 2002 Crown Vic, because this is going to be a shitstorm basically, right? When you show up with a Ford at Metal Mayhem." And Toby, in his slyest way, says, "No, that's not true." And Guard goes into thank God, blah blah blah, right? Toby's telling the story, and then he says it's a 2000, not a 2002, and he's like, "Oh, here we go," Of course, typical Toby story, but it's a lot funnier when he tells it. So they bring 98 02s, whatever version those guys had. Toast gets like third that year. I don't think Mark makes the feature, and then Toby gets Icon Instigator in 2010. So they like shook things up. I mean, he was you want to talk about being ahead of the game. I mean, they were like tilting Fords back then. In 2010, I don't think you could tilt Fords, but you always find a way around things like that. And if I remember this right, you can watch this on DerbyNation.tv. They have like a throwback, and Toby is just running through the ass ends of wagons with the front end of Ford. That was, I think, if you say iconic, it is 2010 Mayhem is like iconic. Oh, this is a good comment here. I was wondering what he won in. I couldn't find this. So Daryl Monroe was the first guy to win in a new model, a 90s Lincoln. That's good stuff right there. So I got that wrong. I thought he took a wagon out there. I think maybe that was just Boucher. So a Ford. Lincoln. Yeah, thanks for that, Richie. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, that real quick, we've been trying to grow our following on YouTube and our Facebook. And I know Robbie is trying to grow his following too. If you guys can get on YouTube specifically, we're like 23 subscribers away from 500. And I'm sure Robbie could use some. We want to get to that 500 subscriber mark. If you guys can get on there and please subscribe. I know you have to have an account and everything, but it just helps us out so much with that YouTube algorithm that we got to play, the game we got to play. So we all have TikTok. We all have Facebook. If you haven't followed the page, please follow the page. There's plenty of people on here that don't follow the page that still watch all of our stuff. So please, hit the like and follow button on each one of our pages. That's Under the Table Graphics, The Simple Solution, and Triple D Entertainment. And then also go to our YouTube channels, Instagrams, TikToks, all that stuff. We greatly appreciate that. What else you guys remember? Chat. Help us out here. What else you guys remember? I know Metal Mayhem's notorious for the parties. Did you guys ever hear that?
I only ever made it to the one in Portland, so
Same.
I never experienced the
We
Illinois
partied in
show.
Portland when we won in the street stock class, but
I remember these guys telling like Psycho Jimmy and these guys burning like Cadillacs to the ground, or burning a car to the ground, or burning couches to the ground. I mean, just going absolutely nuts out there. And I mean, it basically became like Woodstock of Demolition Derby. It had a stretch of 5-6 years there where I don't think you could miss the party. I think that's really what it was. It was notorious. Here, this kind of clarifies the Petro win. So Pro Stock, and then Braun won in the Pro Mod. Richie's helping us out and following up on the wagon. That's the first. Tell you what, that wagon held up pretty nice. I remember the end of that. What the end of that wagon looked like at the end of the show, and it was whoever built it, or if he built it, or if whoever had hands in that. If Richie, you had hands in that, it was a well built wagon. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Just a little tidbits, a Metal Mayhem week. Robbie, when are you going out there?
I believe I'm gonna leave in the morning. I got a doctor's appointment in the morning, so once I get out of that, I got to come home and load a few more items up. Once we get off here, I'm going to go back to Weldon, but I have a doctor's appointment, and then I plan on leaving when I get out of there.
So you're leaving tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
So you'll be set up all day Thursday?
If I don't get to leave tomorrow, I'll leave out like really, really early Thursday morning.
Okay. Those of you that want some information on Metal Mayhem, just go to derbyicons.com. I know they are inspecting cars on Thursday. They're running the show Friday and Saturday, so it'll be a 2-day show. And like I said, I expect it to be super packed. It was it was very packed at Spring X. I don't expect anything different. If they're going to be there at noon on a Friday, I'm sure they're going to be there at noon on a Friday again this year. So don't wait. If you're going to get there late, you might not get a spot. All right, guys, for the good of the order, what else we want to talk about?
Who runs the EPR cars that Michael Clifton put on there? Who is EPR? Do you know?
Oh,
I've seen that before, but I don't know who that is. Who's the drivers of that is?
I will butcher Adam's last name, but it's Adam like Lemminger. It's probably I butchered that. But he's like him and his dad are like the head of it. I've done some car trade with them. But those guys, so does anyone know in the chat what EPR means? I know what EPR means, but does anyone in the chat know?
I don't.
They kind of made their name almost like the Hell cars. Oh, the Richie knows, of course. Richie, you killed it for us, man. Earplugs required. So that's what EPR stands for. And these guys flat out freaking get with it. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
I thought that was maybe a secret.
Every time I see them, they're cleaning house. That's why I asked who it was.
They're not on the driver's list this year. I'm going to pull that driver's list up, actually. There be icons. I'll pull that driver's list up for everyone. I think this is the driver's list. Yeah, this is the driver's list. So there's a lot of big names on here for this year. I mean, heck, yeah, obviously you got Bobby, you got Gilgis, Tommy Stark. I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm not even going to start naming names. All these guys are pretty much big names. Looks like Dale Monroe's coming back. Vic Whaley's going to be there. Ryan Durham. I mean, a ton of guys. The list is loaded. Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Taylor said they have a wedding. I was very surprised to not see them on the driver's list. He said they have a wedding. He's starting his own personal football team. So he's past 5 then. He's past 5. He's got his basketball team. Now he's working on the football team. 11. Holy moly.
11 kids?
Yeah, no, I don't think he's got 11 kids, but he says
I didn't know what the heck you were talking about. I'm like, what?
He said he's working towards a football team, so I mean that's 11. Unless you're going to go 22, play both sides of the ball. Holy moly! Yeah, I was surprised to not see them on there, but they're kind of a staple out there. The Hell cars. Does anyone remember the Hell cars from back in the day? I just put this together. I hope I'm not wrong. I just put this together. I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was the Collins, Chris Collins, and those guys up in Wisconsin. They used to paint their cars like Hell cars, and they would destroy shit out at Mayhem. I didn't. I never put that together. I haven't seen them paint their cars like that since, but. Yeah, that was good stuff. Metal Mayhem. What else you guys got for the good of the order? Or chat, what do you guys got? Robbie, I know you got some new parts coming out. Make sure you guys stop by the table. If you guys need roof signs or anything like that, Tyson will hook you up with under the table graphics. any decals, anything like that. And then obviously make sure you get, if you haven't signed up, make sure you get signed up for the show. We don't want to leave you out. Well, we will.
Did you want to show the win list today, or you want to wait for next week?
Oh, I want to pop that. You're right. Let's get into that. Let me pull that up. So we've been working on something for our show. Andrew got me some of these Metal Mayhem pictures, but I can't go through them now. We've been working on something for our show. Tyson has this pulled up. This is pretty cool. Robbie, you haven't even seen this yet. So, can you guys read that? All right. Oh, let me switch back here. Windows. There we go. Is that readable for you guys?
I can't, but my screen's pretty small, so.
Robbie, can you read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay. So it's a we're gonna post some of these flyers. Tyson works on all this stuff all the time for us, putting this stuff together to give our guys that have ran for us, recognition and what they've done. So what we are doing, and if you can't read it, I'll post it later on. Don't worry about it. But what you're looking at here is you're looking at the format King class win list. So every time you win a heat, or if you want a feature, you get credit. So at the top of our list, so far through 3 years, we got Trace Braun, who is a champion. And if you look to the left of their names, Trace, Corey, and JT, they just happen to have the most wins, obviously because they've won the show, right? And they have a little crown next to them. So those are our past 3 winners. So you got Trace and Corey Roman with the most wins in a heat draw at the King, and then you've got JT with 2. Obviously, he's the highest 2. Brady Allen, Devin Allen, Tim Seitz, Tanner Voyers, and then you've got a whole list of guys that have won at least 1 heat, at our show. It's really cool to win a heat. All right, it means a lot. It's hard to win a heat, and we want to give these guys recognition. So when we put out this flyer, everybody knows, hey, if you're on this flyer, like, you've made the feature at our show, because all you got to do is win 1 heat and you're in a feature. So at some point, one of these guys in one of the years, one of the past 3 years was at it was in the feature. And I know Ben says he can't read it, but Ben, you're on there. You're on there. He with the 3rd place. You got Ken Angle. You got 3 Allens on there. Scotty Drevedek Jr. Scotty, I'm going to tell you right now, Scotty does not – he don't get enough credit, man, for everything that he's done. At 17 years old. Whew. Robbie, could you imagine at 17 if you had 40, 50 wins under your belt?
No. Nope. It'd be amazing. You're right. He does not get enough credit, and a lot of people smart mouth him and talk down to him because he's a kid, and that's not right. So, but he deserves all the credit in the world as be a 17-year-old kid and already have that much under his belt.
What's cool about it is he doesn't have the highest end stuff. He builds a lot of his stuff. Now he's going to be tested. In the coming years, he's going to be tested. We just looked at a Metal Mayhem sheet where Bob Whitaker went 9 years in between Metal Mayhem wins. Yep. Scotty may go 10 wins or 10 years before he wins another big one. He won minis last year at Bash, but before he wins another big one, doesn't mean that he was a failure by any means, right? He's on a list right now of less than think there's less than 100 people in the United States that have won a $10,000 show. There's less than 100. So he's already on that list at 17 years old. That's pretty impressive. Who knows what the future holds for him?
Yep.
I know it's going to get a little bit tougher though. I mean, getting in these big cars, just because he has won so much, he's almost got to he's got to prove himself, right?
Yep.
He's I think for the most part, you know, you get men are all about respect. Well, they're going to make Scotty, you know, earn their respect. And I think he's willing to do it. You know, I've had enough conversations with him. He knows, he gets it. Zarnewski says the oldest Metal Mayhem Derby on YouTube. I think in like 08 to 10, they have like I think it's 2010, they have like a iconic hits video. But I don't know if there's anything older than that besides maybe the one that was on TV in 2002. Man, I tell you what, I would love to get some of these old guys on here that experienced all this in the heyday, that have won some of these shows, that have battled it out, to tell their stories. I guarantee you this weekend you can find campfires at Metal Mayhem that you are literally going to be in awe. You could stand there for hours listening to these guys tell stories. I wish we could capture that on here.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
I'll try to remember some of the conversations. We can talk about them next Tuesday.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're going to be in some of those and not like saying anything. We're just going to be listening. But I just wish we could capture that, you know, and put it on here for everyone to hear. So we've got a couple more of these. Tyson has some more stuff that he's drawn up, but I hope everybody appreciates this type of stuff to give you guys recognition. We're going to do it for multiple classes, anything that runs like a heat format. So it won't just be the King class. We're going to give recognition across the board. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm interested in listening to some of the other King winners of this year and their stories of what they have to say yet too.
Yeah, we got some. I've reached out to some guys for next Tuesday. Hopefully, we can get our compact, our front wheel drive stock compact winners in here. If not, I know there's a couple other guys that we can get in that are our past winners to give them some recognition. Let them tell their story and ask them, you know, what was the experience like, and maybe they can share that with everybody else. So, Robbie, you got anything else for the good of the order?
No, sir. Excited for the weekend.
All right. Well, if you're going out to Metal Mayhem this weekend, we'll see you guys out there. Make sure you stop by the booth. The Simple Solution will be out there in full force. So, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and it's Metal Mayhem week.
See ya.